Hi Sumit, welcome back to Sew with Adeshola. In today's tutorial, we'll be learning how to cut and sew this beautiful gown with a bow tie at the front. If this is something you're interested in, keep on watching. So to make this gown, I'll be making use of 2 yards of Ankara Kampala and about half yard of a plain fabric and my zipper. These are the things you need. So now we'll be cutting out the front piece first. I've gone ahead to fold my fabric into two. After folding into two, I went ahead to mark my starting line, which I'm also going to use as the shoulder line. So on that line, I marked my shoulder measurement, which is 7.5. Now go ahead and mark yours. Then from that 7.5 point, come down by 1 inch. That is going to serve as our shoulder slope. Then from the center of my fabric, I went ahead to mark my neck width and neck depth. So for me, I used 3 by 3, which is 3 inches for the neck width and 3 inches for the neck depth. You can decide to use 4 or 5 inches or even 6 for your neck depth. Now the next thing I'm going to do is to connect my neck width into the shoulder slope like so. Now after doing that, the next thing I'm going to do is to come down by 7 inches from that slope. Then I'll mark out a line which is going to serve as my chest line. I went ahead to the starting point and marked my waistline, which is 16 inches. Also marked my hip line, which is 24 inches, and also the length of my dress, which is 38 inches. So I added 2 inches for hemming allowance to hem it at the down part. So that's all the measurement we'll be needing for this dress. Then I went ahead to mark out the straight lines like so. So go ahead and do yours. Now after we are done marking out our horizontal lines, the next thing I'm going to do is to mark out my armhole. To do that, I came to my chest line and marked 7.5, which is also my shoulder measurement. Then I connected it to that slope. And after that, the next thing I did was marked what I have there, which is 7 inches. Then I divided it into two, which is 3.5. On that point, then I came in by half of an inch. Then on my chest line, I marked out my bust measurement divided by 4, which is 8.5 for me. Then I went ahead and connect the 3 dots together from that shoulder slope down to half inch that you took in, then to your bust measurement. I hope you understand that. Now the next thing we are going to do is to start taking out our measurement. So I went to my waistline and I took my waist measurement, which is 6.5 for me. So go ahead and take your own measurement as well on your waistline, on your hip line, and also at the base of your dress, which is the length of your dress. So now the next thing we are going to do is to add allowance to our dress. So I went ahead and added 1.5 inch for ease allowance and then 1.5 inch for sewing allowance, which makes it 3 inches. So I'll be adding 3 inches all the way down. I'll add 3 inches to the busts, also to the waist, and also to the hip line, and also to the hem line. I hope you understand that. Now, after I was done adding my allowance, the next thing I did was to connect it, to connect the lines like that, connect the dots rather, like so. And after connecting it, the next thing we're just going to do is to cut it out. And now we are done with the front pattern. And so while I was cutting, I also added half inch on the shoulder line for joining. I will show it to us now. I hope you can see it. And that is all for the cutting of the front piece. Now the next thing we're going to do is to cut out the back piece. To cut out the back piece, fold your fabric into two as well, and then place your front piece on your back piece. While placing it, ensure that you have about like 2 inches for your zipper allowance. I hope you can see. Then I went ahead and pinned the front piece to the back. So after I was done doing that, the next thing I'm just going to do is to use the front piece to trace out the back piece. I'm just going to cut out the back piece using the front piece on the sides. Please note it is on the side and also the length of the dress. Just place your front piece on the back piece and then use the front piece to cut out the back piece on the side. And now to cut out the neckline for the back, just come down by 2.5 and then connect it right into the front neckline. I hope you understand. So I'm making use of 2.5 as the depth of the back neckline. I hope you understand that. So I went ahead, cut out the slope, the shoulder slope, still using the front piece. Then I went ahead to cut it out like that. And that's just all. And now we have the front and back piece together. Now the next thing we are going to do is to cut a facing for the front and also the back. So to cut out a facing, get a piece of fabric, fold it into two, then place the neckline of your dress on it. After which you're going to use that to trace it out and cut it. I hope you understand it. So that's just it. That's just basically what we have there. So I'm just using the neckline to cut out the facing. You can see what we have there. So the next thing I'm just going to do is to just trim it out because I want it to have like a round shape. So go ahead and do yours. I also did the same for the front piece. This is the back piece. So I divided the back piece into two. You know it was folded into two. So I divided it into two. And then I'll go ahead and sew it right side facing each other. I'll place it right side facing each other like that. And sew by 1/2 inch. And before you sew it, make sure that you hem the base of your facing. While cutting the front piece, the facing for the front piece, I will show you to us. You see what I'm talking about. So I already went ahead to cut the front, the facing for the front, just like I did for the back. But the hemming part, this is what I'm talking about. You can see it. The base of that facing, make sure that you hem it so that you can have a neat finishing. Then place it on your fabric, right side facing each other, and sew with 1/2 inch. So I'll do that for the front and also the back piece. Then after I am done, I will bring it back to us. And now this is what we have. You can see I've gone ahead to hem the base and I also sew it to the back and the front piece. Then I also make sure that I ironed it well so that it can lay flat. And after this, the next thing we're going to do is to fix our zipper to the back piece like so. Then I'm going to just sew down on the rest, on the remaining part. So I've gone ahead to mark where my zipper is going to stop, and then the remaining part I'm just going to sew it down. So once we are done fixing the zipper and also joining the back piece together, the next thing we are going to do is to join the front and back piece together. To do this, on the shoulder, take one facing and use it to cover the rest. I hope you understand it. I hope you can see what I did there. Just take one shoulder, like maybe the front, then take the back and use the facing of the back to cover like that, and then sew with 1/2 inch like that on both sides. And after I was done, this is what I have. You can see I've gone ahead to fix my zipper and also join on the shoulder. Now after doing this, the next thing I'm going to do is to cut out the fabric for the bow at the front. To do this, mark out what you have on your bust line. So for me, I have 22 inches over there. So I'm going to cut out fabric that is as wide as 22 inches and 10 inches long. So that's what I'm going to do now. I'm going to cut it on fold because we have to hem one part. So let's go ahead and do that. So this is what we have after I was done joining it on one part like that. Then I went ahead to iron it out like so. Then also I went ahead and cut out the fabric for my belt. Now the next thing we are going to do is to sew our fabric, the bow tie fabric, on our main dress. To do that, come down to your chest line, go to your chest line and come down by 1 inch on your chest line on both sides, that is under your armhole. Come down by 1 inch, and after coming down by 1 inch, take your bow tie fabric and place it on it. You can see it is the same measurement with my bust. Then place it such that it ends on your waist. I hope you understand that. Place it in a way such that it ends on your waist, which simply means that we are going to be pleating it from that point, from that 1 inch from your armhole down to your waistline. I hope you understand. So I just went ahead and pinned it down like so on both sides. Then I pleated it like that. So I'm just going to do the same thing for the other side as well. And I would like to take this minute to appreciate all our returning subscribers. And if this is your first time here, thank you for stopping by. Please do not forget to click on subscription button and turn on your notification bell. Thank you. Back to what we are doing, we are just going to stitch it down on that side. Just stitch it down. And after we are done stitching, I will bring it back to us. After stitching, this is what we have. The next thing we are going to do is to cut our sleeve. So I have this fabric. Now the next thing I'm going to do is to cut it out using my freehand method. So I've gone ahead to cut out the desired length of my sleeve, which is about 11 inches long and also 22 inches wide rather. So on fold it's going to be 11 inches on fold. So I also went ahead and cut out this piece of fabric that I'm going to pleat my sleeve on. So let's get right into cutting of the sleeve. So this is me cutting out the sleeve using a freehand method. Then I went ahead to notch it at the cap of the sleeve and also at the base of the sleeve, just so that I can determine the middle of my sleeve. Then also for this little piece of fabric, it was like 1.5 on fold. So I went ahead and notched it as well, so that when I'm pleating, I will know where the middle is. You understand what I'm trying to do there? So I'm just going to place it, the notched part on the notched part, yes. So I'm just going to pleat it right on each other, the right side facing each other. You know, the sleeve is bigger than that small fabric, so I have to determine the midpoint where to know how to pleat my sleeve very well. I hope you understand. So I'm just going to pleat my sleeve on that fabric, and this is what I have. Now the next thing I'm going to do is to pleat my sleeve into my armhole. So I'm just going to take my sleeve like that and then sew it into the armhole like so. You see the notched part, I placed at the middle of my shoulder. So I'm just going to sew it around like that, just in case if there's going to be any pleats, of which there will be pleats. So I went ahead and did that. And after I'm done, the next thing I'm going to do is I'll be taking my body measurement. So I'm just going to insert my body measurement, and we are done with the cutting and sewing of this beautiful style. So after you've pleated your sleeve to your armhole, the next thing you're just going to do is to take your body measurements. So I'll go ahead and take my body measurements. I'm just going to take, at first we took 1.5 inch as a seam allowance. So I'm just going to be removing 1.5 inch as a seam allowance on the bust line, on the chest line rather, the waist and the hips. So I'm just going to go to the base of my dress as well, and then take 1.5 inch. So I'm just going to connect the dots into each other, and then I will sew. And after sewing, I will bring us the end result. That brings us to the end of the tutorial. If you've watched to this extent, thank you for sticking by. Thank you for watching. If you are yet to subscribe, please kindly subscribe, click on notification bell, comment, share and like. So also I hemmed the base of my dress with 2 inches, so I folded it 1 inch in. So, and that is all. Thank you.